Welcome to what has been a much anticipated day at this museum. A day in any museum really is just reminiscent of any good day in our lives. It's filled with opportunities to learn, inspiration, and a chance to enjoy. Any time spent here helps us to grasp who we were so that we can understand more readily who we are and have a better sense of determining where it is that we want to go. While this museum holds the history of Dundas and so much more, it's also been making its own history along the way. In 1956, the original museum opened. In 1963, the new gallery opened. And then in 1974, the 1848 doctor's office that was situated on King Street was moved from that location and established here. Today, you can experience the museum in a variety of ways. You can visit the website, you can join the conversation on Twitter, or you can see it on Facebook. But so many of you who arrived early did it the best way, right here inside the doors, walking through these hallways and through the rooms. There are more than 15,000 artifacts contained here.
From the 1940s, the preservation of this area's long and storied heritage has been the task of the Dundas Historical Society, and was mentioned. The original building was opened by my predecessor, the Honorable Louis Breithaupt, and obviously has been in very good hands over the years. But this splendid refurbishment has now expanded what is now the Dundas Museum and Archives from a treasure house of memorabilia to a very user-friendly resource for researchers, educators, and the entire community, and of course taking advantage of modern electronics in terms of the internet and in terms of the Twitterverse that's out there somewhere for some of us. Let me just say what a pleasure it is again to be here today, and as the representative of Her Majesty the Queen, and on behalf of the people of Ontario, I bring you greetings. I congratulate everyone who's worked so hard to make this expansion a reality, and I hope the people of Dundas enjoy many happy hours exploring the heritage of the Valley Town.
It's always wonderful, but particularly this morning, to be involved in a ribbon cutting to mark a brand new chapter in an old story. Did you know that there has been human habitation in this area for more than 10,000 years? More recently, in 1813, just 200 years ago, there were 200 people living in our valley town. It was so big, they had to build a post office. In that year, it was still known as Hoots Paradise. But in 1814, it became Dundas, and today 25,000 of us call it home. In 1886, H.G. Graham Bertram, was born in Dundas. You may know that he helped to found the Dundas Historical Society Museum. And he established a foundation that continues to this day to support the museum. And it's important for us all, isn't it, to remember our past. It's important for all of us to understand where we came from and the forces that have shaped us. That's why museums are important.
I've been in Dundas now for almost 5 decades. And, I was one of those weird ones very early in my life to have a passion for history. That old cliche, which I'll totally destroy, is, how do you know where you're going to go tomorrow if you don't know where you've been? And that's so personified in what we hear and have in this particular building. What we attempted to over the last number of decades, but what we will now be able to do because of the interactive and the ability to access records that will be able to put into pictures, into stories, what life by people who invested, whether their businesses or their residencies in this community, have made this community as it is. When you make history interesting, when you make history personal, it gets more and more people interested in it. And that's what you're going to see here with the reopening today. The Dundas Museum will tell the vibrant life of those of us who have come to love and live in this community.
The museum has an important role to play within our community. While it's easy to focus on the building, as magnificent as it is, the museum is a manifestation of something even more important, its mission and content. With its dedicated archival research facilities, expanded exhibit space, and with our new education program and learning center, the Dundas Museum and Archives is well positioned as it faces an exciting future. Thanks to museum founder Graham Bertram, Dundas has such a museum. In creating his trust, which covers a portion, not all, of the museum's annual operating expenses, Mr. Bertram made specific provision that the museum be open to all and an entry fee would not be charged to museum visitors. The cornerstone of the museum's future success revolves around a robust education program. Research tells us that people who visit museums and art institutions as a child are more likely to continue to engage in their heritage, the arts, and cultural because they had a positive experience. So it's critically important that we reach out to younger audiences, school groups, parents with children, and develop programming and content that is engaging and relevant to them. Interactive exhibits and technology will play an important role in this. New media is more recent addition to heritage in the arts. It includes the use of computer and digital technologies, video art, and audiovisual forms. Thanks to the Dobson and McKee family support, the Dundas Museum and Archives is on the cutting edge of today's technological advancements. You will see evidence of this as you tour the museum.
We invite all of you to do what you came to do, to explore the newly reopened, renovated Dundas Museum and Archives. Thank you so much for your support of this museum. You are this museum. Without you, there is nothing.
Now, I have to tell you, this is a bit of a surprise. I didn't know that this was going to happen. So I have learned something, though, from Prince Edward, and that is that he told me that unfortunately plaque unveilings and ribbon cuttings can be a little bit of a letdown. Once I cut the ribbon, could you just cheer like this is the most exciting thing? Can everyone do that? Okay. 3, 2, 1.